Dental podcast where we're calling a spade a spade. Great to be here with you guys today. What planet are these people living on? What world do they reside in? What can possibly be going through their mind when coming up with these lists? Boiler Room, Kevin Durant's media company, puts out a top 5 most marketable WNBA players entering this season list. Folks, the fact that I even need to make a video about this speaks volumes.
The list slammed into the internet like a runaway train, and within seconds, everything exploded. Fans didn't just push back, they erupted, leaving Paige Bueckers trapped in the middle of a storm she never wanted. While the media rushed to crown her the league's next superstar, the voices on the ground kept shouting another name entirely. It became a full-on collapse of the corporate script the moment the hand-picked stars realized the audience wasn't believing the story anymore. Then came the silence from a league office, heavy, uncomfortable, as the numbers started revealing a truth nobody could twist or hide. Careers were suddenly measured against brutal reality, and for the first time, the gatekeepers felt their control slipping away.
Season list. Folks, the fact that I even need to make a video about this speaks volumes. Caitlin Clark, not only is she not number 1 on this list, she's not even number 2 on this list. If you live in the real world, if you reside in reality, if your head isn't in the clouds, if you aren't off a little bit, how do you come to a conclusion where Caitlin Clark is not the most marketable player in
the controversy ignited when Boardroom dropped its list of the top 5 most marketable players entering the season. On the surface, it looked like another polished promo graphic, but to fans, it landed like a slap in the face. Aya Wilson claimed the top spot, with Paige Bueckers sitting right behind her at number 2. But the outrage exploded for one reason. Caitlin Clark, the player who shattered nearly every viewership record women's basketball had ever seen, wasn't even close to the top. The disconnect felt so massive that fans genuinely started questioning what reality these executives were living in. You can't overlook the biggest attraction the sport has ever produced and expect people to quietly accept the narrative being pushed in front of them.
And Angel Reese fans teaming up like the Bloods and the Crips, joining forces to attack a common enemy. That's how bad this list is, folks. It's got Caitlin Clark fans and Angel Reese fans joining forces in the comments, trashing this list from top to bottom. In case you guys haven't seen the list, the WNBA tips off its 30th season with more momentum, star power, and money than ever before. With a new generation of stars rising and a new CBA expected to
What happened next felt almost impossible in the world of sports fandom. The fans of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, 2 groups usually locked in non-stop internet wars, suddenly came together. It was like bitter rivals calling a temporary truce to fight a bigger enemy standing in front of them. The comment sections turned into chaos as both sides ripped the rankings apart from top to bottom, united by how unbelievable the list looked. And when rival fanbases agree your rankings are complete nonsense, that's when you know something has gone seriously wrong. In that moment, fans openly rejected Paige Bueckers as the league's second face because to them, the numbers simply didn't support the hype anymore.
Other than pushing her because she's a melanated individual, can anyone tell me why she's on top of this list? Seriously? Can anybody tell me what actually makes her more marketable than the 4 people beneath her? No disrespect, Asia. I know. MVPs, championships, I know. But we're not having that conversation right now. We're just having a marketable conversation. Nike has poured millions of dollars into your campaigns, and your shoes are sitting on clearance racks at Marshall's.
The criticism surrounding Aya Wilson taking the number 1 spot turned especially ruthless because fans tied it directly to retail reality. While the league and Nike https www.nike.com, UT_source equals chat.com, have invested millions pushing her image through massive marketing campaigns. People kept pointing to what was happening in actual stores. Walk into almost any Marshalls, TJ Maxx, or Burlington, and fans claimed you could find her signature gear sitting untouched on clearance racks. It became an uncomfortable reality the industry didn't want to address publicly. Because if someone is truly the league's most marketable star, fans argued their shoes shouldn't be buried beside discount socks and leftover home decor. In the end, marketability isn't measured by how many commercials you shoot. It's measured by how many people are actually willing to spend their money.
Nike has poured millions of dollars into your campaigns, and your shoes are sitting on clearance racks at Marshalls. I could go to my local TJ Maxx and find myself an Asia 1. I can go to a Burlington coat factory 15 minutes away. Boom, there's an Asia 1 right there in the clearance rack. They've just poured money down the... Number 2, Paige Bueckers. Now, Paige Bueckers on this list, 2 or 3 is right for Paige. 2 or 3.
Then came the Paige Bueckers debate, and that's where the entire list really started unraveling. Putting her at number 2 felt to many fans like a last-ditch effort to protect an old hierarchy that existed before the Caitlin Clark era completely changed the landscape. Nobody questioned Paige's talent or the loyal fanbase behind her, but people kept asking the same thing. Is she truly more marketable than Sabrina Ionescu? Sabrina has built a massive presence in the retail world. Walk into a Dick's Sporting Goods, https://www.dickssportinggoods.com, UTM_source equals chat.com, store, and her products are impossible to miss. Her branding feels recognizable, the quality stands out, and the pricing connects with everyday buyers. It's the kind of market reach Paige simply hasn't touched yet, despite the league constantly trying to keep her at the center of the spotlight.
Views. Since then, they didn't sniff a million-viewed game until Caitlin Clark's season opener. Rookie year. They went 16 years not sniffing a million-viewed game. Highest average attendance in the Caitlin Clark era, 24 and 25, home and away. Indiana Fever, 2025. Indiana Fever, 2024. Followed by Golden State and New York Liberty. Caitlin Clark, number 1 in jersey sales, number 1 in overall TV attendance, number 1 in overall attendance, number 1 in TV ratings. Caitlin Clark, number 1 in jersey sales.
If you really want proof of who's marketable in today's game, fans say all you have to do is watch an NBA game. Out of 10 players on the floor, chances are 7 of them are wearing Sabrina Ionescu's shoes. In basketball culture, that's the ultimate stamp of approval. Those stars aren't lacing them up because of some corporate marketing pitch. They're wearing them because the product delivers and the brand carries real weight. Sabrina has crossed over from the WNBA into mainstream sports culture in a way very few players ever managed to do. That's why so many people found it confusing to see Paige Bueckers ranked ahead of her. To fans, it started feeling less like the league was recognizing true marketability and more like they were trying to decide who they wanted the audience to embrace instead.
To where they trigger revenue sharing with its players. Again, the fact that this is a recurring theme heading into year 3 is kind of embarrassing for the boardroom. Seriously. The fact that we got to go over this again. Sheesh. Putting Asia 1 is the most pandering ass bullshit I've ever seen. CC is by far the league's most marketable player, and it's not even close. If you want the real, not biased, CC 1, Angel 2, Paige 3, Sabrina 4, Asia 5. I get why Asia may be first, even if this is about
The numbers behind viewership and attendance are where the entire argument for this list starts falling apart. More fans tune in to watch the New York Liberty than the Dallas Wings, and arenas fill up to see the Liberty at a level matched by only a few teams riding the massive Caitlin Clark wave. The ratings tell a story that's impossible to ignore. Because if Paige Bueckers were truly the league's second most marketable player, fans would expect to see that reflected in television audiences and packed arenas night after night. Instead, the momentum keeps shifting towards stars who are genuinely driving attention, pulling in new viewers, and bringing fresh energy to a league that spent decades fighting to capture the spotlight.
The league literally wasn't profitable at all till Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese came. You undermine your own media outlet when you can't even get something like this right, which even a casual fan could tell you. Except all the data and sales debunk your bullshit rankings. CC is undisputed #1 for marketability. Where is your integrity? Now, let's be honest. Like, this is nasty work. This is the nastiest of the nasty work. They market Asia. Doesn't mean that she's marketable. Cool list. There's no company in existence that agrees with you, but cool list. What other fairy tales can you share?
The arrival of Caitlin Clark changed the gravity of the WNBA overnight, which is why so many fans viewed ranking anyone above her as completely detached from reality. Before she entered the league, major games struggled to pull even 500,000 viewers. Then suddenly the draft exploded past 2 million. Arenas started selling out everywhere the Indiana Fever traveled, and television ratings reached heights the league hadn't seen since Candace Parker arrived back in 2008. To many people, this wasn't a small rise in popularity, it was a full cultural takeover. Clark became more than just a basketball player. She became the engine driving attention, merchandise sales, sponsorship money, and non-stop conversation around the sport. Fans pointed to jersey sales, sold-out crowds, and social media dominance as proof that the market had already chosen its biggest star, no matter what corporate rankings tried to suggest. At the same time, names like Angel Reese and Sabrina Ionescu kept building massive influence through cultural relevance, retail success, and crossover appeal that reached far beyond hardcore basketball fans. That's why the backlash toward lists favoring players like Aya Wilson or Paige Bueckers felt so explosive online. Fans weren't attacking talent, they were rejecting what felt like a forced hierarchy disconnected from the numbers they could already see with their own eyes. Every sold-out arena, every record-breaking rating, every viral highlight, and every flooded comment section kept pushing the same message louder and louder. The audience was no longer willing to let media companies dictate who mattered most. The frustration grew because people felt the league was trying to protect an older narrative instead of fully embracing the new era unfolding in front of them. Even major brands like Wilson Sporting Goods, https://wilson.com, UTM_source=chat.com, and Gatorade, https://Gatorade.com, UTM_source=chat.com, seemed to recognize where the momentum truly lived, investing heavily in Clark because they understood what connected with younger audiences and casual fans. To many viewers, the entire controversy became bigger than one ranking. It became a battle over credibility, authenticity, and whether sports media was willing to acknowledge the reality of where women's basketball was heading. In the end, fans believed the numbers told the truth no corporate narrative could hide. Packed arenas can't be faked, television ratings don't lie, and the modern audience is far too informed to blindly follow a script that no longer matches what's happening on the court.